If you're buying a home in 2026, there are a few things you absolutely need to stop doing right now. If you're still operating on advice from 2019, 2020, or even 2022, you are playing the wrong game. I'm seeing intelligent, well-capitalized buyers make avoidable mistakes. Not because they lack the resources, but because they're using strategies that belong to a completely different market cycle. In this video, I'm going to break down what buyers need to stop doing in 2026, why that advice no longer works, and what you should be doing instead if you want to negotiate from strength, to protect your leverage, and to secure the right property on the right terms. If we haven't met, my name is Bent Danholm. I work primarily with discerning buyers and sellers here in Central Florida. I'm a real estate broker, and I study market patterns daily. I negotiate contracts on a regular basis, and I'm very clear about one thing. This current market rewards precision. It does not reward old habits. And by the way, if you appreciate direct, pretty much no nonsense analysis of how things actually work right now, then I suggest you subscribe and turn on that little notification bell. I don't do the hype. I try to do the strategy. So if that's your thing, well, subscribe now and turn on the notification bell. But let's start with the first thing first. The first thing that buyers need to stop in 2026. Stop waiting for the perfect market. Many buyers today are not constrained by affordability. They are constrained by indecision. They're waiting for some obvious dramatic signal, some sign in the sky, something like rates drop sharply, prices fall significantly, headlines declare reset, whatever. They're looking for something. But here's the reality. Excuse me. The 2026 market is not collapsing. It is fragmenting. Some sellers are under pressure. That's true. Insurance costs have increased. It affects some sellers. Property taxes have risen. That's also affecting some sellers. And maintenance in Florida is not inexpensive. And it's true that the research coming out of Central Florida shows that financial vulnerability is one of the biggest concerns among some homeowners. So there is pressure. It does really exist. But that does not mean that every property is distressed. It means that opportunity is very selective. So if you're a strong buyer with liquidity, flexibility, and clarity, you are in a position of advantage, but only if you recognize the opportunity when it appears, because it's not everywhere. So waiting for a dramatic downturn often causes buyers to miss really quiet leverage moment. A seller who needs certainty, a property that has lingered just long enough, and a home that is priced correctly and is negotiable on terms. The buyers who win in 2026 are not the ones waiting for perfection. They are the ones who are able to identify asymmetry where seller pressure meets buyer readiness. Secondly, stop relying on automated valuations as if they are precise. They never have been, they probably never will be. Even with the introduction of AI, there's a pretty good chance they are never going to see everything. I do understand why people look at online estimates. They're easy, they do feel objective, but they are very blunt instruments. They do not account for roof age, they do not account for insurance complications, they do not account for deferred maintenance, they do not truly account for whether the home backs up to a conservation area, a lake, or a commercial corridor. They do account a little bit for these things, but not fully. And in Florida, especially, condition is strategy. Two homes with identical square footage can have material different long-term risk profiles. One might have impact windows, a brand new roof, and updated plumbing and electricity, and the other one does not. An automated number will average them. It will value the updated home too low in most cases, and the not updated low home too high. But the market will not do these things. If you're a sophisticated buyer, your edge comes from understanding total exposure, not just price per square foot. Even though this is a useful tool, it's not the only tool you should use. What you should do instead is evaluate value through risk-adjusted lens. What upgrades reduce future friction? What improvements make a property more resilient? What condition issues create negotiation leverage? What can you use as a buyer as your leverage from that condition of that property? That's how professionals look at real estate in 2026, and that's exactly how you should look at real estate in 2026. Third thing, stop thinking you can outweigh competition by hesitating. There was a time, probably mostly before COVID, where when you could tour a home, think about it for a week and circle back. That still works on the wrong properties. If the property is overpriced or in bad condition, sure, that works. But for good homes, quality homes that are priced correctly, it doesn't work because they still move, and some of them moves within days, even hours. The difference in 2026 is not chaos, it's kind of clarity. Prepared buyers move more decisively, unprepared buyers stall, and here's what I see repeatedly. A strong buyer hesitates, thinking more inventory is coming, thinking the house will be dropped in price, and the property, the right property for them, just sells right under their nose. The next one is a compromise. Now the buyer is either overpaying for less quality or settling. That's what's going to happen when the right property moves away in most cases, because then maybe not you, but a lot of buyers become desperate. So preparation and clarity is leverage. If you understand your criteria in advance, your location, your lot orientation, HOA structure, construction quality, long-term hold strategy, all of that stuff, exactly understanding what you want. You don't panic, you assess. And when the alignment between what you want and the property appears in front of you, you can move with confidence. And you should not hesitate, because that property might not come again, because the inventory is still limited and good properties do move fast. Fourth thing I want to talk about is stop skipping pre-approval until you find the right house. If you're not a cash buyer, you need to be pre-approved. It's not about affordability. I'm sure you know what you can afford. That's not the issue here. It's about credibility. Even well-qualified buyers, they weaken their position when they submit offers without verified financing. So if you're in a position where you want or need to finance, you need to be pre-approved. Because sellers today, they want certainty. Most times they don't even want to look at the offer until you have your pre-approval. Especially those sellers who are already under financial pressure, because they don't want to risk taking their house off the market and then the deal falls through. On the other hand, when your offer comes in fully documented, clean and structured properly, you stand out. Not necessarily because you bid the highest, but because you look more executable than the other ones. You look like the one who's going to make it to the finish line. When I represent sellers, one of the things that often concerns them, even if they don't have to sell their property, even if they don't care if it sells at all, but if they do accept a contract, their main concern is, can this go to the closing table? So the clearer you can show that to the seller, the stronger your offer is, even if it's not quite up there with the asking price. So in 2026, clean execution wins negotiations. Fifth thing I want to talk about is stop lowballing. Just because you can, just because it used to work. Aggressive low offers can still work. I can testify to that, but only when it's justified. In this environment, sellers are informed. They know recent sales, they know the comps, they know the competition. So if you submit an unserious offer without logic, you damage rapport. Sometimes to the extent that if you come back with a full price offer, they might not even want to look at that because they're afraid that you're just trying to find an excuse to renegotiate at some point. Negotiation in 2026 is almost surgical and definitely not theatrical. If a property has been on the market for 90 days, it has dated finishes and needs a new roof or some other upgrades, that's strategic leverage. If it's just hit the market and is updated and priced in line with the comps, an attempt at a deep discount is simply misreading the field, so to speak. The goal is not to win the negotiation. The goal is to control it. And that requires that you understand seller motivation. Are they relocating? Are they liquidating? Are they downsizing? Are they carrying two properties? Whatever pressure they're under, that creates some flexibility, but not necessarily to the extent where they're ready to give the property away. And only if you identify what the pressure point is correctly and can speak to that. Number 6 I would like to talk about is stop believing every home will be cheaper later. I know we are seeing some adjustments in certain segments, and some homes do get adjusted down. It happens, especially when they've been on the market for a while. And inventory has improved in some areas, so there are more homes to choose from. But the thing is, over time, real estate does not drop. Individual homes might drop. And you don't know if that home is the one. And the other thing is, structural demand in Central Florida still remains strong. Our population growth continues. Lifestyle migration continues to Florida. And the long-term fundamentals that attract buyers to Florida are still here. We have great tax structure, no state income tax. We have a great climate. We have a great business environment. And none of this has disappeared, and none of it looks to disappear. So markets do soften, that's correct, but they do not uniformly collapse in desirable areas. So if you're buying for a multi-year hold, waiting indefinitely for dramatic discounts often will cost you more than acting strategically today. So now let me summarize what I think and I know that buyers need to internalize in 2026. Stop waiting for obvious market timing. Start identifying selective leverage. Stop trusting automated numbers blindly. They do not work. Start evaluating condition, resilience, and risk. And stop hesitating without preparation. And make sure you clarify your criteria in advance. And don't just lowball because you can or because you emotionally feel that you should. Put in low offers when appropriate only. And start negotiating strategically. It's not about winning, it's about controlling the negotiation. And stop assuming that all homes will be reduced in price if you wait long enough. Most likely they're going to sell before you buy them if you wait long enough. And start thinking long term. Start thinking in multi-year positioning. So those are my points of view, my experience that I've shared with you. And now I'm a little bit curious, which of these outdated habits do you see most often in yourself or in friends? Is it waiting too long, so you lost it? Is it over-negotiating, lowballing? Is it hesitating? Or is it relying too heavily on online valuation? This estimate says it's $500,000. It's definitely not $510,000. Let me know in the comments. I am really curious to hear what experience you have. And again, if you value strategic analysis over noise, why not subscribe and turn on that notification bell? I promise you I will make more videos like this. I make them on a regular basis, and you might find some of it useful. So in case you do, hit that subscription button and make sure you turn on the bell. And let me close with this. In 2026, strong buyers do have an advantage, not because prices are collapsing, but because some sellers are under pressure. And if you negotiate right, you can get the property at the right price. But that doesn't mean that you can get every property at a low discounted price. The current market do create negotiation opportunities, but only for buyers who are prepared to act intelligently and strategically. The market is not emotional, it's analytical right now. So if you're considering buying in Central Florida and want a private strategy session tailored to your goals, your needs, contact me. We can analyze specific opportunities, identify some leverage points, and help you structure offers that protects your position and get you your property on the right terms. We don't believe in drama or outdated advice, just a little bit of clarity and strategy. Thanks again for watching. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye for now.